let's just sew whatever. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I was trying to hold the bag and it like flew back and it's fine. We are making the modified Aries crossbody bag from Knotted Thread Co. and I am obsessed. This took me way too long, but my husband just came down here and was like, oh, that looks nice. Oh, I like the way the connectors are on there. Oh, it's edge coated, that's nice. So that made me feel good. All the little extra steps are noticed and appreciated apparently. But yeah, this is not officially part of the pattern. I did get Shannon's permission to film this, but all of these are her modifications minus the slip pocket that I added on the inside. I do wish I had top stitched the lining gusset. She might have said to do that and I didn't. But we also added a double-sided strap just to make it super fancy. Yeah, I love it so much. I do have a video on cutting this bag, so if you're interested, I will link that down below. Maybe not, we'll see. But let's get into it. First thing we want to start with are going to be our strap connector pieces, which I honestly forgot I needed to do. But I'm going to carefully cut out one of these pieces. I'm using super sharp Kai scissors. I'm trying to just go as slow as I can, cutting on the line. Just getting it as smooth as you can. Start as low on the scissors as you can go. And then when you reposition, make sure you slide your scissors up. Don't like take them off and replace. And that'll help kind of prevent any jagged edges. And then turn the fabric instead of your scissors. Okay. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to use tape to hold those down. I've got my stitch length set to about 4, and I'm using a thread that matches pretty well. And then I'll probably bring my edge coat stuff over here to edge coat, but we're just going to do a base coat and a color coat. And then after I sew these together, I'll cut them together. Use a lighter. This is a luxe vinyl, so it has like a leather-like backing. And I'm just going a couple stitches at a time. And then I'm pulling my thread up to the top. And then we'll knot those off. I feel like if you're really confident in your ability, you could put these 2 layers together, trace your pattern piece, and then stitch, and then cut all at once, maybe? That might be kind of cool. But this connector is just riveted onto the bag, so totally up to you if you want to do this a different way. Or like I mentioned in the cutting video, you could also do like a hidden strap connector. That would be cool too. And then one of these sides isn't going to be seen, just FYI. So if something isn't perfect, just make sure that one side is. Oh man. Like I just completely removed a stitch. But I can get a hand needle and replace it. How do I get you to come out? Where are you? Maybe it won't. But yeah, you can see that little missing stitch. So I'm gonna tie this one off and grab a hand needle and fix the other. Crap. Look, who are you? There we go. All right, this one I did not lose a thread, and you can't see where I started or stopped. So now I'll tie these off. All right. And then for this side, I am doing the exact same thing, just really carefully cutting. And then if there's any parts of my original cut that don't look great, I can clean it up. And then I'm just gonna double check. Yep, that looks good. I almost think I accidentally cut the 3/4 inch connector, and maybe I did, because I was like 1 inch is too big. So I'll grab 3/4 inch D-rings. Maybe it'll look better. My connectors are ready to go. If I did not edge coat these, it probably would not be the end of the world. I'm just taking the lighter to this really quick. Make sure all my edges are nice and clean. No weird fuzzies. Okay. And then I'm going to use the Giardini base coat. I hope that was fun for you. I have had mine for a while, but it still seems okay. So I'm just going to do a pretty thin coat of this. Edge coat is one of those things that I wish I had more time for. I know I've done some bags with edge coat, and that was like way long time ago. It's just really time consuming. And then you can clip this up on a surface to dry, like that. So I'm gonna be just kind of resting this over here on my iron, standing it up so that it doesn't glomp onto something. So like that, you can just swipe it. And it's like, you want to make sure you have a good side and a bad side. So this is actually a really fun like beginner edge coat because you're going to be hiding one side of it completely. And I'm going to be mixing my edge coat while I have everything here. And then as we're sewing the bag, I'll check back on these to add a color. I'm going to mix a few things. I'm not trying to match my edge coat, but I want to make a really fun coordinating color. Like if I'm going to take the time to edge coat it, it may as well be cool. And then if your edge coat is like clumpy after it dries, you could sand it down and do another coat. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. And then paper towel or wet wipe to clean this off, not your hair. I have some Giardini edge coat paints, and I have some Mojo Sews edge coat paints that I'm gonna like mix a little bit. I'm gonna use this silver. I'm gonna stir them a little bit before I scoop. And like, you don't need a lot of the color, which is also like deceiving. So I'm going to use a little bit of that silver. I have this really fun burgundy. And part of me is like, you're never going to use it all. It doesn't matter if you get a little dirty, but can't do it. Again, you don't need this much. I've now wasted more than I will ever use in my lifetime. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. Don't drop it. And you want to make sure that you don't get the screw part of the jar dirty, or you might never be able to open it again. I was able to pop that seal. What's fun about this one is it's a lot thinner. So I'm just going to add a bit of that and put that seal back on. Okay, here's what I've got. Just wanted like a blackened pink with a little bit I might add a little bit more of that pink, but it's definitely really pretty. I don't know that it's much different than just, no, it's definitely brighter. It's pinkier. I'm gonna add more though. Let's see. I don't think I have any solid white. There we go. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a matching wallet and this won't be a waste. I find that it dries out pretty quick in these jars that I bought from Amazon, so I don't know that I'd recommend them. But yeah, that's pretty. And it just kind of mimics the deeper color in the roses, so I think that's fun. So we'll just set this aside for when our base coat is ready, and we will add that color. Yay, mad scientist. Because my bobbin is full, I'm gonna go ahead and start on my strap, much to my chagrin. Make sure at this point that your hands are clean from your edge coat. I am doing a double-sided strap. This is not part of the pattern. I just wanted to have some fun with it. So I marked my 1-inch center line, and I'm just folding this down onto some double-sided tape the entire length, and then I'm considering sewing the raw ends together so that there's like no raw edges essentially, but we'll see what the vibe is. If you did not watch my cutting video, I am using an uninterfaced waterproof cotton fabric that I sell on my website for the print of this bag, and then I'm using a Luxe microfiber backed vinyl that I carry on my website. This color pink is going to be available in like April, I think, which I know sounds crazy, but I like to plan ahead. So yeah. And this is really a time-consuming task, but I think the end result is really eye-catching. There's a strap, triad strap add-on pack, or pattern, I should say, from Lavender and Twine that I think is free on her website. If you want to check that out, there's a ton of different ways of doing straps in there. If you're like, man, straps are boring. You can elevate your strap making game. I'm like, is this really 2 inches? Because it doesn't feel like it. I'm going to be really mad if I decided I'm going to make a 3/4 inch strap and didn't tell myself that I thought that. So this feels like. Maybe not. But if that is the case, then I'm not going to do the right sides together sewing. I'm just going to put one on top of the other. Yeah, there's no way. Well, maybe, we'll see. So I'm just pressing all of that together. I don't usually have the issue of like a twisted strap, but if you do, you can start from the center and work your way out, and that kind of distributes the strap a little more evenly. And then I am going to also be adding double-sided tape to stick these layers together. Like, you could try to hold it. I just don't trust myself. So I'm just going to use 1/2 inch wide for that. They're pretty same. I don't know that I trust it though. So what my plan was is to kind of sew this along the top and then press it down. And that makes it so you don't have any raw edges. But I guess technically I could just fold it and stick them together. But my fabric is a lot longer than my vinyl, so the strap also would have been like this in a way when you like put it all together. No, opposite. Yeah, kind of like that. So, I don't know that it's super worth it. So I will just stick these together. And then when you're doing that, you don't need to unpeel all of your double-sided tape or you're not going to have a great time. Just do a little bit at once. Excuse you. And then I'm pressing down with my arm as I line up everything. And you can clip all that together too if you wanted. So I still have some extra down at the bottom, and I'm like, well, I could potentially use this. I'm just brainstorming to like add the slide adjuster maybe. I don't know. It's kind of overkill. And I feel like, well, it does kind of reduce bulk. We'll try it. Why not? All right, but I do have to top stitch this, and I'm going to top stitch it from the vinyl side, so let's brainstorm that fully, if that is what we're going to do. And that is right there. All right, then the fabric side is face up on your strap. Okay, so I'll top stitch with fabric side face up. And I'll start from up here so it's consistent. Stitch length at 5 is my preference. And then if you want to add any other top stitching to it, you absolutely could. And then let's see what kind of 1-inch wide label I have. That'd be cute to add under there too. I don't know if I have any, to be honest. No. I have like no 1-inch wide. That's okay. Cool. Looks really pretty. Worth it. And then I could edge coat that if I wanted. I don't really care. But I am going to trim it so it's nice and even. And you can add a strap end to that if you wanted. Or you could just rivet it. And then I am trimming my excess threads. Okay. And I could totally still hit that with some edge coat. Speaking of edge coat, I'm going to check in now that our strap is done and see how our edge coat is drying. So the base coat is actually pretty dry. I don't think it looks bad. So I'm going to go ahead and do some base, some top coat, some color coat. And I'm hitting this little area with just the color. I think it's fine. It'll be fine. I have the rest of the strap clipped out of the way, so I think that'll be fine. I'm just gonna let it dry. Just let it hang out over there. And then if you're worried about getting this on your fingers, you could use a clip to hold it. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, this is like almost exactly the color I envisioned. So now that I've got that side done, carefully clipping over that area. They do have like a helping hands tool you can get if you edge coat like a lot, but the clips work okay, I think. And then with a project like this that has a front and a back, make sure you're keeping an eye on how the front looks. Okay. Just checking to make sure there are no spots that I missed. Really carefully clip. Looks good, I think. So I'm going to move this back over here too. I've just got it on a little notebook. And so, like I said, I've used the smallest amount possible. And I'll have plenty left over to dry. And some of these edge rollers actually do require oil inside of the mechanism to help it roll. So just be mindful of that. If yours isn't rolling very well, it might just need some oil. And you would unscrew right there and pour some oil in. Just be careful that it doesn't seep out and ruin what you're edge coating as well. Looks pretty dang good. All right, so I'll set that aside. I'm going to clean up my roller and then we'll get back to making the bag. We are going to get started with the first hack part. First part of the hack, which is the zipper placket. People call it all kinds of things, but the zipper panel on top. And this is done a little bit differently than what we might be used to, but this is a fun one. I know Erica from Lavender and Twine uses this method, and so does Shannon. I'm sure others do as well, but we are going to be marking 1 inch line on either side, which so far you're like, okay, yeah, that's the same as the other ones. And then we're going to tape and fold to that line. So whatever size tape you want to use. And then we're going to fold to that line. The double-sided tape that I'm using is from Weft and Warp Co., and I offer it on my website, but I think it sticks very well. And if you have trouble getting the paper off, I like to do what I call like a push, peel, smoosh situation. So you like push it down, try to separate the layers with force instead of like, or I should say with like opposite motion instead of trying to like pick and peel at it. So we're gonna mark our center. And that is where our zipper is going to be lined up. So instead of having bulk on all 4 sides, you're actually turning part of this into the lining and part into the exterior. All right, and then we are going to use Shannon's method of squaring off the zipper, which is actually really easy and helpful. You want to make sure that your zipper top is as straight as possible. And I'm just using my lighter to singe it. And then I need 2 hair clips, or you could use a pin. So what she'll do is she'll, as usual, separate. She'll fold the edge of the teeth over to meet the edge to make the top half into like a little triangle. And then take that and fold it back. And then she'll use a straight pin to hold it and then sew it. And I just use a lighter to melt that in place. And so it's very similar to what I like to do as well, which is I will keep my finger at where I want it to be, and then I fold the back behind. So just whatever works. But hers is a little bit more even and precise since it's a straight zipper and then you fold it the exact same way. And so I use those hair clips to hold, and then I'll melt and pinch it together. Okay. So I am going to be using double-sided tape to hold my zipper in place. So you'll just decide where you want your zipper to be. What part is your exterior, especially if you're using like a directional or printed fabric. So let's see if my zipper goes here. My zipper, oh, I did it. It will be continuous. Cool. I was just willy-nilly clipping. So I'm going to peel off my tape on that side and lay this just below the center and then press this down. And then you're going to line up the back edges and we'll clip that together. And fold this on itself. You can unzip your zipper if you want as well. And then there's some excess fabric to kind of trim out of the way to prevent any bulk. You just want to make sure you're not cutting through zipper, or you could fray your zipper. And then we're going to press that open. You can use your iron if you use the right kind of fabric. And I'll pull and press this down. We're going to line up the edges and we are going to top stitch. So this might be like a super domestic friendly way of making a zipper placket, zipper panel. I just don't know if it's my favorite. Like, cause one side has a lot of fabric and the other just doesn't. So it feels uneven to me. But I mean, it does look nice. Especially if your machine like struggles with top stitching over the bulk. It'd be a good way to prevent it. But it is also quicker. Oh, and my machine was like, I don't know what this is. So I have a little skipped stitch there. I think it's just from going through the teeth. So you could even maybe cut away a couple of the teeth, but I worry about longevity. Okay, we're just gonna repeat that on the other side. Oh, I didn't tape. I thought I did. Okay. Well, it don't matter. If you're worried about how your zipper lines up, you could lay this face down like this and then fold over. Oh yeah, that's lined up. Alright, so I want to line up the bottom edge like that. And then I'm starting just a little bit before the edge of the fabric. And then I want to make sure that all those layers are sitting nice. feel like my tension isn't quite right for this thread. I'm using the Tech 70, I think, from Swag. It's a really pretty color. I don't know the color name. It's not on the cone, but the color is F337. And yeah, it's the Tech 70. It's a little light for my machine's preference right now, but like it's weird. I can almost see as it's sewing and kind of like feel as it's sewing that it's not quite the same as the Tech's 80 and 90. Okay, pushing out that corner. I'm gonna zip this up. I mean, yeah, overall it was so much faster to cut. I feel like it was faster to sew, and it still looks really pretty. So it's not that bad. Okay. And then we need to mark the center of our zipper panel still. Oh, that's okay. I didn't catch the back side, but I'm going to catch it when we sew it all together, so it's not a big deal. But it's so cute. Cute little zipper placket. While I have my lining gusset and my top lining gusset pieces, I'm going to just go ahead and lay those right sides together and sew that together. And then there is a fun little trick for the seam allowance to not be quite so bulky, where we're going to snip next to, in line, I should say, with the stabilizer up to our stitch line. And then one piece is going to get flipped up, one is going to get flipped down. And I don't remember which right now. Okay. Yeah, I would think, yeah, I think the center gets flipped up and these stay down when you top stitch. Yes. And you can double-sided stick that into place as well. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start my top stitch on the side to baste that down. I'm up on my vinyl now, and I will sew through the top. And then I'm going to pivot down, and I can feel where my seam is throughout that whole thing. Boom. And it creates a nice bulk up here, but when you are sewing your sides together, you're not going to have like that weird bulge. Okay. So again, your sides stay down and this flips up. I'm going to top stitch starting on the side, pivot when I get to my vinyl, sew across the top all the way. and then pivot down. Great. I like it. And I've already marked out my centers, but if you are worried about your seam allowance being off, you could mark it again. No one would be mad. Yep, looks good. Okay, so we've got our exterior gusset and our lining gusset. Those are all ready to go. The exterior of our bag here, and then here is our lining. I cut one of these out to be a little slip pocket, so I'm going to do that now. Folding the top edge over. I may even trim the bottom a little bit. It's not going to be a great slip pocket, but it's a little something. Ooh, I don't like that. It hurts me when a print repeats weird, like in a bad spot, I should say. So I'm going to line this up an inch, yeah, an inch from the top. I'm going to clip that in place. And then I'm going to baste it from the back and just trim my excess. Oh, shoot. We should top stitch it first. Yeah, we should top stitch that first. And then I'll just trim those to match. And then, yeah, we'll do a little center stitch line. So I'm just snipping. What happened to you? Snipping where my centers are. And I'm just gonna sew down the whole time, just the whole way. Cute. Just little pockets. Excuse you. All right. So zipper panel now is going to get added face up. And then our top is going to get laid down on top of all of that as well. And then I'm going to use a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Seems right. Similar to how we did the gusset, I've snipped an amount that feels correct. And since we are going to be top stitching under the gusset, so it's a perky one, we're going to fold our seam allowance up and fold this down, and I'm going to start top stitching on the side and then come under. Okay. So side seam allowance is up, and I am basting that into place, and then I'm going down under my lining, under, onto my lining, under my vinyl, and I'm sewing over onto the lining fabric. And then make sure as you get to the other side, you're moving your seam allowance, finishing your top stitch underneath, and then completing that baste all the way to the top. My zipper is way longer than I need it to be, so I'm going to trim it. And that's big enough for something later. All right, so that is what the top looks like so far. This is a drop-in, so we're going to be measuring and using that pattern piece to just completely measure that line and fold it down in a little bit. So I'm not adding anything to this side. I don't have any woven labels to match or anything like that. So I don't know. I have this cream color. No, that's not great. I'm not worried about it. I'll add one of these. Okay. So if this feels confusing, you want to see inside your bag when you open your zipper placket. I'm just going to plop that right there. Lining up my center snips. So that snip again. And then you're going to fold everything up and out of the way. The side seam allowance is going to be flipped up. I'm going to start top stitching on the side, come underneath onto my lining. Oh, poop. My woven label's technically upside down. It's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to flip up my other seam allowance. And baste through that. All right. So when you see your bag, that's what it looks like so far. We are going to be using our template piece to mark out 3/4 of an inch from the top edge. Okay. So I've marked out that area, finding my center. And just double checking on the sides that we're good. Probably should have done this first. It does kind of say that, but that's fine. It's fine. So this is where we're going to be folding it down to drop in. I got those marked. Okay, beautiful. And then I'm going to repeat that. Just checking my mic again. I'm not doing this again. All right, and then now that I'm thinking about it, I'll do my lines here before I sew them. And that foam just sits right on top of that top stitch. It's going to be beautiful. One more. Don't need that though. I need to add a nameplate to the exterior. I'm gonna do that really quick while I'm thinking about it. I feel like I haven't used an actual nameplate in a very long time. We're running out of pieces, which is exciting. I feel like this takes half the time than a regular Aries probably does, which is cool. I'm going to add this 2.5 inches up from the top in the center. I noticed the new Tula Pink seam ripper now has like a silicone cap, and I don't love it, to be honest. Black nickel hardware would also look really good with this color combo. But I like rose gold with it too. Okay, so now all we need to do is put gussets together and then drop in, and then we'll rivet on our hopefully dried, edge-coated side connectors. Okay. Make sure you're lining up your seams. They should be kind of nested in opposite directions. You do not have to clip both sides at the same time if you don't want to, but I want to. This is where it really differs quite a bit than the normal Aries. After reading the instructions, I was like, ooh. So what you have is like a gusset loop, and then you attach lining, and you attach Erica. Exterior. Lord. So I'm just marking those out for now. And I plan to use my cylinder arm to top stitch this all together. Again, we don't need any birthing hole, so we don't need to make sure we've got an opening. You will need to snip into your gusset. So I'm just making sure to find the centers and the top and then working my way down until I can feel it's kind of tight. And that's where I'm going to add some snips. Just barely in the lining gusset. For a second I was like, oh my god, did I even hit record? Yes, yes I did. Okay, and then you're like pushing and stretching that fabric to meet. And then it's a 3/8 inch seam allowance, I believe. And then if you want to slowly increase to 5/8 as you get kind of down in your lining, it is recommended. If things aren't fitting, you could very easily make a couple bit wider snips into your fabric. But I'm just slowly sewing around. But pressing all that down. Okay. And then I'm trimming down my excess. Snipping. And then start with your 3/8 inch. Slowly increase. we'll trim that excess. So now you can unzip, kind of check it out. Make sure everything looks good and sits nicely. It's so cute. We are going to add some tape. Opening. You could definitely do this as not a drop-in, but I think it's just not gonna look quite as crisp. Just slowly folding that down to match up with the line. Why am I trying to stick it to my face? I'm just like trying to reduce the bulk at the top here. Oh yeah, that helped a lot. Okay. So I just snipped the seam allowance at a bit of an angle because if you think about it, you've got a ton of vinyl under the seam here. So I'm just gonna grade that the line. There we go. So yeah, that's a big difference on those sides. So I'm gonna flip that up, just trim that down. Even if you only do one side, like it's something. All right, it looks really nice. And then it still has nice structure. It does stink that I didn't add the pockets to this side too, because like you can see it's like a little tilty because that stability isn't there. So let's go ahead and get our exterior done. Oh, I just want to be done. But I'm enjoying it, but I just want to be done. We are getting to the exterior. I didn't mean to clip this. I was listening to some voice messages. But we are going to snip the exterior gusset. Just be careful. So I have Decaville Light and foam on my main panels, and I have just foam on my gusset piece. Let me just see, oh, how nice that fits. And then we're actually going to be top stitching this gusset as well, I think. I mean, I want to, but we'll see. And then this is a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Which should be like right next to the foam if you cut it the way she suggested in the pattern mod list within her group. I'm going to switch my stitch length down too. I feel like my corners are a little jittery. Because my stitch length is too long. So I'm lifting up my foot to readjust and pivot so that I can line up that seam allowance. And I am not watching my needle, I'm watching my foot up against my seam guide. I have a seam guide on this machine from Steve at Sewing Gold. So nice. All right. So then we're gonna cut out notches of our corners so that things fit beautifully. Give it like scary monster teeth. And then I am going to top stitch my gusset. It's gonna look so nice. I can't not do it. And so at the top here, we're going to snip our seam allowance marking area so that when we're top stitching, we can pivot to reduce the bulk. And then I'm going to amp up that to the 4, I think. No, I'm going to go a little higher. Okay. And I'm rolling that seam all together. And I'm just flattening that towards the gusset as I go, making sure my foot is off the pedal. And luckily it's a really little curve. So we'll just go one stitch at a time. Oh, that's nice. And so I can see my seam here, and I'm pressing my finger onto it and pulling apart my layers so I can see I'm catching everything and there's no puckers. And just a little bit at a time. And then press that seam out of the way on the other side. Ooh, baby. Lost a little tooth, a little snaggle tooth, but I got the vinyl, which is more important. And some of it is a little close to the edge, but overall I think it's good. The other side will be nearly impossible, but let's try it anyway. If it is, I'll just switch to my cylinder arm, because at that point it'll be time to switch to top stitch, which I plan to do anyway, so it would be fine. Okay. My exterior actually doesn't need as many snips as my interior did. I might actually say that in the pattern. So I'm not going to add quite as many, because if you add too many snips, you're making it too big and it doesn't like suck into place as it should. When you snip it, it'll be a little too big. Okay. Such a cute little size bag. Like, I might give this to my grandma. No, probably not. I'll probably sell it. But the size, oh, I'm gonna switch that back down to like a 3.5. Again, it's just like jittery around the corner, kind of weird, instead of making a nice transition. Make sure your center snips stay aligned. When I started this bag, I made a total of 2 bobbins. I made one for this machine and one for the other. So we'll do that same snip at the top. And then we'll give it scary monster teeth. And as you're snipping, try to make sure that you're not cutting too close to your stitches. Whoop, hello. With as long as it's taken me to do this, our connectors should be plenty dry. I didn't do many coats, so should be good. All right. Before I move, I am going to add my double-sided tape. No. Yes. No? I'll add some double-sided tape just above the line I need to fold to. A really good press, especially against that foam. And like I said, I'm just going to do it on the front and back currently. Okay. I have it threaded. And now I'm debating how to top stitch it. I almost feel like this way. But I'm a little worried about how different the shape might end up being. Ugh, just look how much nicer that looks than this side. I mean, it's not that much different, but all right. So turning this side this way, this side this way, and top stitching on the gusset. Although I want, it's kind of tricky because I feel like everything I want to do is from the other side. But we'll try basting from that side, pivoting, and now top stitching. Yeah, so I've got my seam allowance tacked in the other direction. And then I want to lower my foot pressure. Yeah, we'll just go slow this way. So I'm gonna lower my foot pressure just a teeny tiny bit more. I can feel my layers kind of shifting. I guess I want to do it like this. We'll see. And again, we're only going to take it a little bit at a time anyway. I'm pulling on those layers. I'm going around the corner, so I just want to be really careful. Nothing slips. maybe. So I'm really pulling those layers apart. Whew, I don't feel like I've taken a breath at all. My machine was standing in place, or not the machine, but the bag, and it was caught on the back of the foot, a couple of the layers. Okay. All right, we're getting close to the top. And then we're going to sew in the other direction. Ow. To tack it down this way. So my stitches don't look the greatest. Like, I think my foot pressure was just a little inconsistent. That's okay though. It will look okay in the end. All right, and now we're going to fold our gusset, an exterior fabric down. And this just like gets wrapped over that foam. Oops. Guess I could just put this over here. So I'm just folding to meet that line, and I'm stretching and pushing the fabric down. It's really fun how it just kind of like sinks onto the foam. And then I'm going to grab my lining, because that's going to get nestled right inside of that. And then I like it to zip to the left, the front there. I'm just pressing those layers down all together. Right now it's not fitting because it's covered in clips, but I'll be able to line up those marks. Line up those gussets first. I do need to increase my foot height back to like baseline 3. If you want to, you could even glue your layers together, let it sit for a little bit. I'm going to line up my centers. My pink vinyl was a little bit stretchy, but I don't think it's too bad. You can see I've got what feels like this big gaping area, but you can kind of massage those layers and arrange it so that it's not there anymore. Okay. Finding those centers. Oop. Okay. Very nice. I just want to zip it before I get started top stitching it, just to make sure that everything is centered and lined up nicely. Oh my goodness. It's so freaking cute. I want to see how it sits. I mean, it feels really nice. Yeah. I'm really tempted to just like glue it and not top stitch it. You can't do that, but boy, do I wish I could. So I still have that like little gap there. And you could also re-sew your lining with a little bit smaller of a seam allowance if that's happening. I mean, now is the time. But I'm just kind of rearranging, making sure nothing's shifted. Because if you're not great with a cylinder arm, things could shift and then we'd be really sad. back at my baseline 3. I am ready to start top stitching. I'm gonna start on the side here where I'm going to be covering it with a connector anyway, so it doesn't matter if I mess up a little bit. I'm gonna kind of hold it at an angle. I hope this lighting is okay. It just seemed like too bright to see very well. I'll try to, there we go. That seems good. So it's not like washed out. Okay. I did not tape my layers together. I do have my needle in the fabric, so hopefully my threads won't be as likely to like jump and skip. But here we go. Making sure my zipper is out of the way. Okay, I feel like I need to lower that again. And then I'm holding on to both my lining and my exterior as I'm top stitching. I feel like I should have taped them together. I feel like my lining is slipping. Like I started off higher and now it's lower. I feel like you can kind of help it by starting with it up like this as you're top stitching. I don't know, that feels better to me. Because I don't necessarily care where the bag has been, I care where it's going. All right, so we're getting over a little hump, so I can bump the foot up to like a 4, just to slowly walk over. That area. My edges are lined up. My zipper panel is out of the way, it's good. Again, I don't care where it's going or where it's been. So holding it back here doesn't feel necessary. Like I don't even need to hold the bag there. Just, it's like, where do I hold it? Okay, we're going over the other side. So I have my nail up against the edge here. I guess I could use that edge guide, but it's too tight, so I can't adjust it, and I can't find the Allen wrench. I took it to the classroom. Okay, so I'm done with jumping the humps. So I'll come down a little bit. Oh, goodness. So it's still not low enough to fully catch that, or the foot was caught on this corner. So it's kind of a bummer. There we go. little thread loop. Oh, it went away somehow. I must have pulled up on something. All right, it's not 100% perfect, but it's not bad. We were dancing a little bit right there. But overall, not bad. So we can tie off our threads or say heck it, because we're going to cover it up anyway. Goodness gracious. All right. Got it. Yeah, I'm gonna tie them off and then I'm gonna rivet on my connectors and add my strap and we will be done. I think one of my 2024 goals is to take time on my bags. Like, 2023 was a really tough year mentally, which is weird because I did a lot that should have made me happy, but I feel like taking time creatively is what really gives back to my mental health, so I'm gonna try to keep doing that. All right, we have a zipper end to add as well. Ooh, so cute. Just wanted to show you what that ended up looking like. So now our connectors are ready. I'm gonna mark out those holes on the wrong side just in case. Take my hole punch. I either need to empty my punch or sharpen it. Okay. So once you've got those marked, we're gonna refer back to the pattern, but basically this gets centered, mark out that placement, and then you're in business. Don't forget your D-ring. That'd be bad. And then we'll add our zipper end. It is 1 inch to 3/8 of an inch from the top. So you want to line up your holes. Okay, maybe that is a 1 inch, and I'm gonna try it. I lied. It is 1 inch. It's down further, and I've never made it before, so I didn't know. But yeah, look, perfect. Trust the process. Just trust the process. So it says to test first. What you thinking? Because you want your D-ring to just like sit right on top, otherwise it might fall. So then I'm gonna just kind of mark that. And then I'm gonna measure that. So yeah, for me, that was exactly 1 inch from the top in the center. Which, if you're curious, the gusset is 2 inches wide when finished, because of course it is. Because of course it is. I'm gonna use the hole punch over here, just because it's a lot of layers to get through. Make sure you're only going through the layers you want to go through. Okay. Depending on the thickness, you may need like a 12 millimeter post rivet, and I do carry those on my website, just saying. So we're gonna do, okay, make sure your connector has the ugly side underneath. There we go. This is good. We'll add that cap and then rivet through all those layers. And repeat. Again, we got pretty side on the top. Little rivet post through the little side. Don't forget your D-ring. I am a little nervous about it just being a single rivet. Like if that gets yanked on, grr. But man, does that look so nice. All right, and now zipper end. Last part, I'm gonna shorten my zipper just a little bit. a little bit more. Just feel like it's a hair too long. Glue. Glue. Guess this is the only glue I have. This is a Gutermann glue, and it comes out fast. Get plenty in there. And then I hurry up and put that cap on. Smells good. And then I fold it on itself. These are extra large zipper ends, so you don't have to be as picky about how you get that in there. And then I've got my screwdriver with a light. And I've kept a magnet on here for quite some time, so it is magnetized. That's in there, nice. Oh, all right. That does charge with a USB-C, so it's kind of fun. But guys, woo-hoo, we did it. Ooh, I really love the double-sided strap. I think it's super cute. I mean, that was my contribution. That was not part of the pattern, but there it is. That took me all of a long time to sew and create, but it was really, really fun. Like a fun challenge. I love the strap connector. You see that edge coat? Like, makes no difference, but it has that sheen to it that's really pretty. I don't know that I want to sell this because I'm just like, I did it. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I love the Aries bag. I love looking at the ones Shannon makes, and this one just felt very approachable, but also a challenge. So I'm very happy with it. I do wish I had top stitched my lining the way I top stitched my exterior, because it's a little bit, it's not bad, but it feels a little bulky. My name tag right there, pointless, but made me happy. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you will accomplish this very simple Aries, and I will see you next time.